Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Can you see us? Can you hear us? Please let us know. Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yes, all good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, Max. Hey, Tamara. Hey, Wolfgang. Hey, everyone. Please tell us in the chat, hi from your location site. Hi from Berlin. Hi from Warsaw. Hi from New York. Please just say hi from, hey, Vienna, Berlin, Manchester. Oh my God, so cool. Hi from Ukraine. Hello, hello. Um, by the way, Michael, where are you based right now?
I'm in Karlsruhe, Germany, south of Germany.
Wow, awesome. How's the weather?
Today is actually quite awesome. Yesterday it was raining, but today it looking good. How about yourself?
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I'm in Gdansk, north part of Poland. Usually the weather here is actually super bad. But today, it's good because we can make the webinar and I cannot miss sun because we don't have sun today. Yeah, okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Guys, we're gonna start in just one more minute. And I do really want everyone just feel free to share a bit more information about yourself. So I want this event be not only about the content and the knowledge, but also be a networking chance. So feel free to share your LinkedIn profile, just saying hi, connect with me because we are doing this, or connect with me, and so on and so forth. So let's just all connect together. It's going to be really, really cool because after that, I know people who are, in just a few months say, hey, we were both together at Ilias webinars, and I saw you did something super cool. Let's become partners or something else. So cool. Okay. Awesome, awesome, guys. And we're going to start right now. No worries, you're going to get all the recordings and all the materials after the webinar. We're going to send it to you. So no worries about those things at all. So please let me know whether you can see my screen. No, you can't because I'm not sharing yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Is it the deck, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So guys, let's start with the not a simple, but actually pretty bad situation right now that is happening with the outbound. Your outbound is just not working. And this is true. I mean, for a lot of people, cold emailing, LinkedIn outreach, it's just literally not working. There are a few reasons for that. The first one, you might get no replies. You're sending cold emails, you are sending LinkedIn outreach messages, but especially when it comes to the cold emailing, you're sending all of those messages and you're getting no replies. You don't know what to do. You try to tweak subject lines, you try to change the copyright and change even the targeting, but it's actually not bringing you results. Yes, at the very beginning, when you start sending cold emails, you might see some spikes that people some reply to, etc., etc. But then in a few months, or even in a few weeks, there are no replies at all. And usually in 90% of cases, it's not because your subject line is not great, or it's not because your first line is super weird and people think that you're a spammer. But probably in 90% of cases, this is happening because your emails are going to spam. And you might tell me, hey, Ilya, but deliverability issues were a really big thing back in the days as well, right? And this is true. Back in the days, ESP providers such as Google and Microsoft were always fighting against spammers and tried to make it even more comprehensive and even harder for lead generation teams to send cold emails and actually reach inboxes. But during the last year or so, Google and Microsoft implemented so many new changes. Microsoft deliverability is so comprehensive. Google killed open tracking, etc., etc. Right now, reach someone's inbox, it's actually a big deal. You cannot make simple, stupid mistakes. You cannot just think that, hey, we're going to send a lot of messages and yeah, what's wrong with that? And so on and so forth. Now, you actually need to include the deliverability in your outbound lead generation and overall pipeline generation equation. And the worst thing is that you might not even know that your deliverability is actually bad because the majority of email outreach tools and the warm-up tools and deliverability tools are actually showing you that everything is good with your deliverability. Is that, oh, you have 100% deliverability, or you have 99% deliverability, 92 out of 100. And you always think, wow, that's great. That sounds really, really awesome. But in reality, it is not. And the reason for that is right now, there is no direct metric that shows whether your emails are going to spam or not. There are only indirect methods. Again, back in the days, you could use open tracking and more even not the open tracking itself, but the dynamic of the open tracking to clearly understand whether your emails are going to spam or not. So for example, back in the days, if you always had 75% open rate and then it suddenly dropped to 40% open rate, that is not because of your subject line. That is probably because of your deliverability and something is going on there. But now you cannot track open rates. And if you do, please turn it off because it's actually not great for deliverability right now. And right now, there are no methods like this. You can see the drop in reply rates, but who knows? Probably it's because of your targeting or your messaging, etc. And all the indirect, or not all, but the majority, like actually 90% of indirect methods to figure out the deliverability are actually not good. So for two reasons. The first one, the majority of warm-up tools or cold email deliverability tools are actually super, super biased. They have they don't have enough rotation to always check your deliverability on different mailboxes. The second one, the majority of the mailboxes they use in the deliverability tools are based on Google. And even if your deliverability to Google might be great, but you don't know whether your deliverability to Microsoft is actually great or not. As a result, all those tools, you might have the problems with deliverability, but you don't really understand those things. But even if you do understand, the worst thing is that there is no person who can fix those things for you because it's too technical for the sales team. Sales team doesn't need to worry about deliverability. They actually don't need to think about SPF, the mark monitoring, CNAME links, etc., etc. They need to sell. They need to prepare messaging, targeting, following up people, etc., etc. It's too niche for IT people. I mean, they do other work, I mean, which is important. And of course, it's not a scope for growth. So at the end of the day, no one owns deliverability. And at the same time, it's it's nobody's responsibility unless your emails are going to spam. So when your emails started going to spam, everyone's so worried, but who to blame? I don't know. So you probably might not get no replies, and it's because of deliverability. But the second thing, there are no leads. Yes, people are replying to you, but they're all not interested. Hey, please don't contact me. Hey, I hate you, and so on and so forth. We all know those replies. And it's normal that whenever you're reaching out to people, they tell you, hey, I'm not interested. That's normal. But if in your outreach, out of 20 people who replied to you, there is actually zero who were interested in the conversation with you, or only one who's even not relevant at all, there is something wrong with your outbound, right? And the majority of the problems are actually because a lot of people still use the playbooks of 2020 when it was just enough to use the company size, the function, in the geography for the personalization and the overall outreach strategy. It was enough back in the days, but now it's not. You cannot rely on your cold emailing when you're sending it to irrelevant people with your irrelevant messaging and expect to get great results. You actually need to dive deeper and go with relevancy first outbound, where you try to reach out to people who are actually relevant by checking buyer signals, intent signals. For example, someone visited your website, etc., etc. And today we're going to talk about those things actually. And of course, um, even worse, you cannot fix those things by implementing AI or just small tweaks. It's basically the problem in the strategy, in the approaches that you're using for targeting, for your messaging, for your hypothesis, for your ICP, and for your buyer persona. It's way more fundamental than you think. And the last thing, there is no predictability. You can't actually rely on cold outbound because today it's working, you're getting some replies, but what happens in 6 months? You don't know. Because it's so fragile right now. Your emails might suddenly go to spam and you can miss that point. Or your emails are just stop working because people are replying to you, but there are no leads. Plus, you don't know what's working and what's not working. You're actually relying on some chaotic actions. Hey, let's scrape some people, let's find their emails, let's just send a bunch of emails and then hope that something is, is going to happen. We're going to generate some leads. But at the end of the day, it's just not working. Those chaotic actions are not going to bring you enough results in the long term. It's really important to actually build the system. And when it comes to the systematic approach, we don't need to think about, hey, how are we going to generate thousands of leads? We need to think about how can we build the engine, the process that is actually working, that is bringing leads, replies, conversations predictably. And the last thing is that in order to solve all of those problems, and there are actually too many of them, right? We decided to talk to pros, to people, to A-level people in this market. And today I'm really happy that we have Michael from Dealfront. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Ilya. Good to have you. Thank you.
How do you feel today?
All good so far. How about yourself?
Yeah, all good as
Hi.
well. I do really want to tell to everyone who's watching this or watching it in the recording is that Michael is a legend in the sales market. Uh, and I will tell you just my personal story. I talked to Michael several times and I just felt like wow, this is a really great Michael has a really great understanding of the overall market, and not only because Michael is the salesperson for already a lot of years, and not only because he's a VP of sales in a really huge company, but also on top of that is that he is a VP of sales at Dealfront. And Dealfront, it is one of the biggest sales intelligence platforms in the world. I mean, it's probably the biggest one in Europe, but it's one of the biggest in the world. So Michael knows the outbound and overall go-to-market, not only from his own job that he is a VP of sales, but also because they're actually helping other VP of sales with their platform. And just a few words about Michael. Michael, can you say a few words about yourself?
Sure thing. Yeah, my name is Michael. Basically, before supporting Dealfront with the sales mission, I was basically responsible for 12 years, helping EchoBot back in the days to drive. Like it's a German-speaking company. Was leading the sales team from like a 7 people company to around like 120 people, focusing primarily on new business. And now with the merger with Leadfeeder, now basically responsible for the overall go-to-market mission for new business and now account management as well.
Wow, awesome. Michael, how many people are in your team? How many account executives?
It's around 30, but it's like not only AEs, it's also accounting it to AMs as well.
Wow, awesome. That's a huge team, actually. And just about a few words about myself. So who is Ilya? Probably you're thinking, hey, today Michael's going to talk, but who is that guy with a bird? And my name is Ilya. I was the third hire at Lemlist, one of the biggest actually sales automation platforms for sending cold emails and LinkedIn messages. I was the head of growth at Expondi, one of the biggest actual LinkedIn operation platforms. And now I'm a co-founder of Growth Band, and we actually help in-house B2B lead generation teams to level up. One of the things that we do, and I'm going to tell you quickly, we actually act as the fractional head of cold email infrastructure. So we help companies avoid problems with deliverability and spam by building the dedicated infrastructure for sending cold emails. And if you need that, just always feel free to reach out to me. I will send you the link. So feel free to take a look at more details or talk to me directly. But today, I do really want to get the insights, not talk about myself or what we do, but get more insights and more stories from Michael. Because again, I was talking to Michael several times and I felt that, wow, Michael has an amazing mindset of the current outbound and the future of outbound. On top of that, a really huge experience about how Michael was building and still building, like has been building, the go-to-market and the sales processes at Dealfront. Michael, would you like to share a bit more about those things?
Sure thing. Thank you very much for the intro. And yeah, I hope I can accommodate the high expectations you build out right now. Just also really important just to state that here, I'm not.
We see your slide. Be careful. We see your slide, not your presentation.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Let me quickly stop that. Here, there you go.
I'm gonna cut it.
Can you hear now?
Yes.
There you go. Perfect. Great. So I just want to say, like, I'm not the only one responsible for the go-to-market mission. We have a big team of sales, marketing, RevOps people, SDRs as well, like helping us with our mission. Love, of course, to take the good words, but it's like a team effort that we're having here. Overall, before we start, just as a small question, who is up for some hacks? How we generated 347 meetings in only the last 30 days. Just comment yes quickly in the
Or
comment.
no, probably if you're not interested in the cool hack, just
Just
say
so
no.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Go
Just
ahead.
yeah, yes, yes.
See,
Guys, yes.
perfect.
Yeah, okay.
If you scan the link, or if you don't have your cell phone here, just a primer at the beginning, you will find this one. I'm trying not to have another clickbait that you actually are used from LinkedIn, from those kind of messages, basically, where you see like calendar snapshots with a lot of different meetings in it. It's not about this today. It's all about like how can we actually make it possible, a sustainable pipeline with basics, sales and marketing basics, and helping that with technology. This is what it's all about today, and I hope you will like it. Overall, like this B2B go-to-market market overall like changed really drastically in the last 3 years through AI, through all of other technologies. It's more than the last 30 years, basically. As you, Ilya, said before, like I'm in the market right now for 12 years, but honestly speaking, like what happened over the last like 1 year, basically, with all technologies and all of that different methods, like how to go to market. This is crazy. Like just getting used to this and getting used to the speed is a really big challenge, not only for AEs themselves, but also for leadership teams and organizations overall. We all know basically that 70% of decisions are happening before somebody talks to sales, and that a lot of all of those like decision-making processes are actually already done before somebody engages. What happens before, though, is the people are looking for something a lot of time. They're reviewing. It's the same thing when in your private life. If you don't have like a overall view of something, you're asking your friends, you're asking your family, you're asking somebody who is actually in the topic more in depth than you are to get the best buy-in and understanding of the situation. And they're also expecting usually real-time replies. So I'm asking something. It's basically like I'm expecting you to reply to me right away. I'm not actually don't want to wait a few hours or even days. Again, as you mentioned before, we are a European and worldwide company, but one of our core markets is DACH, especially. And in DACH, especially, we have a lot of more traditional companies. And if you ask them, like, how long does it usually take if you have an inquiry, how long is the like reply rate to them? And it's not really like it doesn't come out too seldom that or random that they actually tell you, well, it takes us like 1 or 2 days, more even like 2 3 days maybe to get back to somebody who actually asked for a quote or asked for something else. So this is something which the market they were working on at some point to help those teams to actually with small things improve, have a big improvement. Also, as you mentioned before, and I really like your slides before, like cold outreach is actually losing its edge. Like it's really, really difficult with all of the AI and automation tools that actually craft your emails, craft like your LinkedIn messages, and actually to stand out because it's all like more or less like a copy paste. And I know it's not actually something that the salespeople do by themselves. They, of course, have also some targets and some pressure from the leadership team, right? So you actually want to reach your target, do a lot of activity at the same time. You want to have quality and like have it on a high level. And this is like stressing people out. And what is also happening a lot of times, like go to market, is not really seen as a team effort of marketing, sales, and customer success. And this is something which is like really important. This is also why when we're talking about outbound and deal front, we're actually not talking only about outbound. We're talking about go to market because those things are coming really together. We need to be really aware that we are fighting for the attention of our prospects, basically against every other seller out there. It doesn't matter if it's in your market, if it doesn't matter if it's a competitor, because we're fighting for the attention. And just like people are used to Instagram, people are used to TikTok, people are used to fast messages, and they're getting spammed through emails, through LinkedIn, and so on. And just it's really, really important to stick out there and do something that it like maybe is different and relevant for them. So, and what we see in a nutshell and a lot of times is basically you have like this last step of this journey This is like the basic outreach. This is basically what I, as a sales leader or other sales leaders, basically usually receive in their inbox. It's rather like some sort of a mass email, if it actually comes through the spam, Ilya, as you mentioned, or it's like some sort of a LinkedIn automation mail that is caused by a specific signal in best case, right? Which is like maybe not really relevant. But the problem doesn't lie only in the outcome. Tell me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know those signals. Hey, I saw that you're VP of sales of a huge SaaS. Please buy my solution.
I, I will get to that point. It's number three. I will tell you a little story
Ah,
right now because I actually experienced that quite heavily around 3 years ago. So what it is that it usually starts, it's usually like we need to really understand our ICP. When I back in the day started EchoBot, but this is again long time ago, or roughly a decade, we were spamming our ICP. Like it was like everybody in sales in my team was consisted of around, I think back in the days, like when I started, it was like I was as SDR and supporting two other salespeople. And then we grew the team to up to 50 new business salespeople back in the days. And we were hammering them with like between 75 and 120 calls. I'm talking calls, not emails, calls, well, heavily. And just by those four different segments, like FTE size, industry, region, and revenue. Those are the basically usually the ones which are still used a lot of time also now today. Second thing is basic persona, right? So you just focus on, well, when you want C-level or VP or head of specific departments. This is like what we want. Nothing more in specific on the persona level. And then last but not least, exactly what you just said, like basic triggers, job change or investment. And just fun fact, like 3 years ago when we merged with Leadfeeder, we not only merged, we actually got like both of us, we got a funding as well on top of that, an investment from GHP in the US. And I also changed my role from head of sales from EchoBot to VP sales for Dealfront. So I had three triggers: my email inbox in LinkedIn and my email inbox in my mails that exploded. Everybody was using the same triggers and the messaging was really similar from everybody because three different triggers, and I was like really comparing the messages. It was really funny to see because, as you said, those are the triggers that everybody uses, right? So in LinkedIn, you have those, and the people are leveraging this. It's nothing too bad for the people, but this is like what the recipient receives at the end.
yeah, Michael, it's just so funny that today, for the first time like during those webinars that I'm a series of webinars that I'm doing, we actually have the person who everyone else is reaching out to.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just you are all sending emails to Michael,
Yeah.
actually. Meet Michael.
Yeah, this is like the funny side of looking at it from both perspectives because I am basically also one of our personas on the customer side. So this is the good thing. My good colleague, like our Sam, our VP of sales, VP of marketing here at Dealfront, we're talking a lot, right? So I'm actually knowing his issues, his pain points, his ideas, his goals, his targets. He knows the same thing for myself. So, and we have like a marketing and sales focus and revenue teams overall. So this is like a really good thing. Like if you're selling actually to people that from your same role, it's more difficult to do it to others. So baseline one is like data side, which I think people can improve. And the channel side is basically where's the last mile? So you have information. What is the last mile between you have the data and how do you reach the contact? So this is like in telecom communication, you usually have like the last mile from this hub to your house, right? It doesn't matter which provider you have, but this last mile is really important to connect your house with the telecommunication provider. This is exactly that. So how you use this last channel is of course really important, but it is really important to how to get to the data. And it's also important to say like there is no one size fits all solution. So what I'm telling you today is just what we're using for us right now. We evaluated different other things. This is just the current state that we're up, and we're always like re-engaging and trying to like improve on it. It's also would be probably different if we would be a small startup that nobody knows. We would do different things than we're doing right now. Also something to be cognizant of. And also depending on who you're selling to, which markets, there are also some legal constraints you need to be aware of. It's also like something that you want to have a specific positioning, how you want to be seen. So just keeping that in mind. So if we're talking about like deal front in our go-to market, it's just really important to understand like our company positioning is exactly not spray and pray. So I'm not like sending out mass emails or LinkedIn automation to all of my TAM or my ICP, because we exactly standing against it. We're just saying like identify the golden nuggets in the market, optimize your messaging, and reach out to them. So this is like really important. So this is how we're doing it. And then the second thing is reputation, of course. You said yourself like we're quite big in the go-to-market area, in Europe especially. We don't want to like burn bridges and like make different and wrong decisions on how we want to go to market and be seen in the market. Second thing is like we have quite a good inbound demand because we're also using our own tools, basically, of course, not only to do outbound, but actually identify leads, create demand in the market, and then route it back and monitor who is coming back and listens to our messaging. So we have this marketing efforts that we're doing as well as a PLG effort. So where people are coming to us, which is like, of course, like a vehicle for us to get involved with people, to try out our solutions for free for a certain period of time. We will also like generate leads for it. And then we have like also something really important. If we're taking a look at different markets outside of the DACH area, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, we have quite a good coverage with inbound leads. So there we actually don't even need to do outbound. So the only outbound we're doing is primarily on the DACH area. There's where we have like our positioning, where we have like the team that is also like set up, and like also the legal constraints are more aligned to us because we are using phone more heavy than doing emails, for example. We're using LinkedIn also in combination. I'll get to that, like how the channel will look, right? We also like do this three-type approach, like phone, email, and LinkedIn to actually penetrate the market. But we also like need to be really cognizant of the legal situation. This is like really difficult especially in Germany. How do you reach out? So need to be taking care of that. And then last but not least, based on the overall situation of the market, right, that we have demand. The team back in the days, really outbound heavy, really outbound focus, developed into a more rather inbound driven sales team because we have the demand coming in. So what is our takeaway? What is our to do? And this is something that is like happening to our customers as well a lot. We need to do more with what we have. And I'm not only talking about inbound leads that actually are the hand raisers, I'm talking about something else as well. And then is we need to be more tactical about outbound. If we're doing outbound, we want to do it right. We do it less than others, but we want to do it right. So this is the basic idea of how we see the market. And I'm getting asked many times like, hey, you are a pipeline generation company. How do you actually like, what's the ratio of inbound to outbound? And again, back in the days, a lot of outbound. Now with a lot of good marketing, a lot of good partnerships and communication on that side, we switched a lot to inbound as well. So basically it looks like this at the moment. We have a lot of inbound. We have around like 80% inbound coming in, demos, pricing requests, trials. There is also webinars, there is also trade fairs and all of that we're doing. Outbound is around 20%. And this 20% outbound is currently divided in, let's say, warm outbound, because we have nurturing cadences running for over the years, gained inbound leads that we lost in some certain period of time, that we have open opportunities, but in a nurturing stage, so which we like get in touch. And again, making more to what we have. We don't need more all the time. It's just about qualifying the ICP, throwing out away the trash that is actually not relevant, and focus on the ones which are really making sense. So we're engaging with them. And also here, it's not only seen as engagement all the time that you like talk to the same person. As you guys know, like people change jobs quite often, and you actually start fresh and cold to them as well over some period of time. And not only on the customer side, also on our end, people can change their job as well. So this is like something what we have at least some information within our CRM that we can use. And this is what was like the goal of our company is our CRM data as well to speak and start with the conversation again. Ilya.
Yeah, I have a question to you.
Yeah.
When it comes to re-engagement and working with warm traffic in terms of the outbound, what are the type of the what are the actual variables that you use? So what I mean is that, do you take a look at how did people engage with your product? So for example, if someone actually created their first search or connected to their CRM, but then they churned, etc., etc., or you just take a look at the company, whether it fits your ICP or not, and then you try to re-engage with them. So how it works in your case?
Yeah, the nurturing and re-engagement is a really good question because it's twofold. Number one is we have a PLG motion running where the people are trialing. And after the trial runs out, you actually can continue with a light version of the system without paying anything. It just runs in the back end. You get less data that we identify. For example, it's like the website visitor identification tool. So we identify who is visiting your website. You're getting it for free, basically lifetime. And what we identify in the back end, of course, is like if your traffic is going up. So the tracker on your website is going up. That identifies like a potential lead for us, so we can actually re-engage and like go in the conversation again. But this is like one fold. Like not everybody is having lead feeder in use or that tracker identified. But we also have like in the CRM specific criteria. We call it the deal from like hitch segments. We did that some time ago where we really like identified based on data what is our cohort that retains the best from which industry, from which sizes, which use case, which persona. We identified that like really in depth and created like and put that framework over all of our database companies in the system. And those ones which are actually meeting the criteria, we have a specific like frequency to re-engage. And this is why like it doesn't like we try to simplify it, like we really narrow it down to the one that actually makes sense. And we continue to talking with them, building out relationships over time. So this would be like the nurturing and re-engagement part. And then the other one would be, which is a bit more cold, I would say. It's the website visitors. So somebody visiting our websites that is meeting our criteria. We never talk to them, but at least it's still not completely cold, so they never heard of us. But actually, there is like one input. There is some sort of an intent seen. You never know like if this is the person who you're reaching out to unless they identified themselves. But it's at least something where you can see like probably they could be interested. And there is like this third step, and this is cold. And this is like really a small part of it because we don't actually need to go as cold because we do other things that warm up things for us. And I want to make it really clear because I really like to share with you like real insights and not some sort of a story that that I see and hear a lot of times on LinkedIn, because I think this one is like more sustainable and more healthy. So let's take a look at the workflow. How does it look like? So I created a video today in the morning to just review with you guys like updated version of how it could look like. So if we want to identify ICP accounts, I hope, Ilya, is that something you can see or is it too small?
I guess we can see that, but the quality is gonna of the video.
This way better?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it is.
I'll make it try to. So what I'm doing here is basically I'm laying one layer after another. So first of all, we took a look at the regions. I selected Germany. Now I'm taking a look. One of our core industries is recruiting, for example. I'm going to recruiting. Then what I'm basically checking here is I'm checking out the company size. So how many employees? And what I'm doing basically, I'm identifying from the total addressable market, how can my ICP look like? This is just only one solution. And then what I'm going to do now is, apart from the firmographic data, I'm actually adding website key content as a potential filter. What I'm doing here is we know from our customers, if they're having a blog or if they're doing webinars, they're creating content. And they usually also want to share that content and they want to see and get people on the website. And they want to identify if the website content is actually leading to good visitors. So this is a really good use case that we can use as a pitch to them. So what I'm doing right now is basically I'm just seeing like those are the industries, countries, and company size that actually is on my ICP. And I'm looking for that specific keyword. So I'm having like around 660 results. I can export it. I can add it to a list. And basically, this would be the first step. I can go into the next step and say, okay, I'm having here next level. There is signals that we talked before. So we talked before, like in LinkedIn, you usually have this, as you said, like investment, job changes, and so on. We're taking a look at 33 different other external signals that don't need to be on LinkedIn. It could be a press release. It could be something that companies are talking in news, in blogs, in whatever, like outside of LinkedIn, and we categorize that. Could be Instagram, could be whatever. So this is like the different signals that we offer here. And I also like pick for this specific reason, if somebody is, as an example, expanding their business. So they're growing. It's quite a good signal for me. So I think like it's not too bad about them. So business expansions could be quite a good case. What I'm looking here now is like it's a result that was happening for 30 days ago, and it's actually deciding talking about the future, not about the past. This is what I'm just easily sending out here. And I'm getting like only 9 results. I'm not talking about thousands. I'm not talking about a clay huge list. 9 results where I see, for example, for Instagram, they opening up a new entity in Frankfurt. Like it's in German, I'm sorry for that, but they basically, we connected the Instagram profile of this company and showing you that this is like the signal you can use. And this is from the 15th of May, so about a week ago. So you could do this and run this report every once in a while. You can do that automatically as well in the back end to create a process that helps you to generate those leads. Just as like one example out of many. This is like how we can do it. We do that like for different industries, our core industries, different triggers as well. So this would be like the first step.
Can I also ask you
Yeah,
a really quick question
of
about the
course.
signals? I'm just a bit wondering. There are so many, like more than 30 different signals. And when it comes to your personal opinion, which, like, because for me, it just always feels like hiring or the investment, it's a little bit overused. I mean, like everyone is like, you raise money and boom, everyone is reaching out to you. And you actually, it's almost
Yeah.
zero possibility to get attention. And what are your opinion on the signals? Because it just feels like, yeah, some of the signals are actually clearly show that people have these challenges, but at the
Mhm.
same time, all of your competitors and other players in the market are
Yeah.
trying to bomb them with emails. So what
Yeah.
are the signals that are actually working for you, and what are the signals that you feel that,
Yeah. You just mentioned exactly the ones which are usually like overused, because if you're doing the same as everybody else is doing, expecting different result, I think Einstein and the back in the day said like it's not really clever to do that. So in my opinion, like it needs to be really like adjusted to your use case. Like we're selling a lot of times to, for example, manufacturing industry, and they're selling machines, like big machines, for example. One signal that's important to them is if another company from a specific segment is opening up a new factory, opening a new like hall where to put the machines and everything. This is like really important to them because this is like a pitch that they can use directly. Hey, I saw in newspaper XYZ that you're opening this up. Congratulations, and like starting with that. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is looking into that. So you can also like to everybody, like to the people in the audience here listening to it, you can really like we have all of the triggers shown on our website. If you go on the website and then check it out, there are really multiple ones which you can also have as a look at the use case that we have there. So we really detail it out. We have also quite a big blog showing like the different usages here. So please check it out yourself, and because it's really different. Because if we're talking, for example, to a GDPR agency, we have GDPR agency that they're looking for signals, which is not a direct signal, but something on the website, which is a wrong norm that you have there, like an old norm, which they use as a signal to get in touch with you because they saw that, hey, you didn't update something. So there are different things that really depends on who is doing what.
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So next step would be nurturing. If you have a marketing department that actually also like has budget and can support the marketing team, what we're doing is we're having IP data of like basically worldwide of companies. And if you identify the companies that are your ICP and we have the IP data for it, you can actually optimize your ads, and you can only show your ads to the people from those companies. So you're not doing like spray and pray, but you say like those, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 companies are my core ICP, and you only show it to them through ad networks. You can do the same thing, but basically through LinkedIn as well. This is something that you can use if you have like some marketing budget to do so. But now let's get back to sales. Let's just imagine We identified the X amount of companies, those 660. As soon as we put them onto a list, we basically monitor every AE and every AM has all of their accounts, like open opportunities, assigned accounts, as well as lost opportunities, monitored directly through a CRM integration in Leadfeeder. That means if somebody from that account visits our website, this AE gets directly a ping. And this is how it looks like. For example, in this case, Anna receives a Slack message. Somebody visited at 11:55 message. You see, like this is a company, Oberpfalz Medien, German company. And you can in Slack like directly see like view in Dealfront or view in Salesforce. It like this is the important part. It's all automated, so she can just react to what's happening out there. It's not a lead. It's like a support to increase her conversion with the existing data. This is what I meant with point number one. What we want to do, we want to do more with what we have. So this is like something that is also really, really helpful to get that. So if she clicks on get in the deal front, she sees this is person. You have one that actually identified himself. I took it out, but there is another one, person one, and you see where they clicked, right? What is the click through? This is the current state. Ilya, I promised you back then when we talked the first time, I maybe also share something that is like not there yet, but our CEO shared like the first introduction last week about AI tools. I just couldn't hold back and like added something to just show you where the route is going.
Yeah.
This is the
So
idea.
please, can you share a bit more? Because when we talked for the first time, it was like almost a month ago. It'll be,
Yeah,
yeah, this is going to be super, super cool thing.
yeah,
I'm not quite sure whether I'll be able to share that or not.
yeah,
But
yeah.
now, if you can share that, that's going to be super, super cool.
Our CEO made a mistake basically like already sharing it last week. It's gonna be rolled out beginning of July, but I can at least show you now like what we're using to test it out with some also of our customers to see how it works out. Basically, in right now, all of the customers are seeing basically what pages are visited, who was it. We identify different people, as you can see, person one, person three, and if we identify somebody, we can show it as well. But it could be like a really long list. See, you have like 252 activities for this account that are visited us in a certain period of time. Nobody's going to look through it. You have a huge activity.
Yeah, and this is so clever in terms of the fact that you're also enabling marketing activities on top of your just sales activities. Because definitely, if you're just sending cold emails or just doing the LinkedIn outreach on the
Yeah,
targeted list of people, they probably might never visit your website or visit only once. But
yeah,
since you're also enabling like the marketing part where you show in ads, etc., it's definitely a long-term thing. So yes, you send the email, they didn't visit the website, but then in 2 months when they saw the ad, they click on that, and then boom, 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 all those things are actually working.
exactly.
It's so clever in terms of like literally the account-based part of the marketing here.
What I really love about this approach is basically that it's not only seen from top of the funnel, because usually people see like lead generation tools and outbound always top of the funnel. How much can we get in from top? MQLs, we need more MQLs. That's like the basic understanding of sales and marketing in some degree. What we're doing here is rather, I'm having an account that I'm working on. For example, I'm talking to you, I want to sell you something. What I usually would do in this case is I would react to our conversation. You're replying back to me on email or LinkedIn, we just talk. I have no visibility whatsoever. Have you actually shared anything within your team? Is it interesting for somebody? What I see like across the line with our team is basically I'm talking to you, you're sharing like information with somebody from your team. Somebody from your team is visiting our website again. I'm seeing person two visited. We just had today our conversation. A week later, 7 people visited. I know that you shared something within the team, the people visiting. I see what they're looking into. What pages are they visiting? And this is what I want to like actually use to get to the next side, because this is like the AI side of things. So we analyze the data. And again, AI we're using here is not like trash information or like overall like big data. We're using it like really clean data, intent data from yourself and clean data from company registry data, basically also like within the whole platform. So this is like really important because this is like our proprietary data that we're using here. So what I would say, for example, here is like I create a prompt. There are some that are already pre-created. For example, what is this company interested in? And this is what we would be doing. And it gets you the answer. This company had in total 10 visits. This is what they were interested in, how much time they actually spend on their websites. And it gives you basically like an overall understanding. Okay, good. It kind of like interested in lead generation, also visiting pricing page. You see they somehow have interesting like API. They spend some time here. So topics I can actually cover within our conversation. And it gives you the info like, hey, you can actually like check out the contacts tab. Who could be interested in like talking to you? Again, it's a beta version right now. I think we're getting there quite close. And the next thing would be I would go to contacts and I would say like, hey, I want to sell this company a pipeline generation platform that helps their revenue team and build real pipeline and win new customers. What would be the best entry point and who would be probably the best buying committee, including the C-level executives? And the tool is giving you recommendations. As you can see, like, it's still beta. So this text is German right now. I translated it for you. In this case, Victor is the digital marketing manager and therefore basically relevant for the conversation. So we're trying to help you to understand and like make sense of the data. So you don't need to review it yourself, everything, but actually give you insights and actionable data because this is all it's all about, reducing time, reducing effort from for everybody else. Getting to the last point, and this one is actually really simple. And it's really important to say, like, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We're doing basically the same thing other people outside are doing as well. We're hustling every day. If we're doing outbound, doing always like three type of things. Number one is like we're using always multi-channel. If we contact somebody, it's usually through the phone, LinkedIn, email. We usually use as well like personalization. It's really important. So we optimize the pitch based on the data that we have. We use that. It's like there's never a copy paste. There is a bit of a template, of course, but usually it's really like optimized based on what we saw, what we found, based on interactions with our company or with what they're doing right now, the signal that we identified. And then last but not least, we also always target multiple stakeholders. So it's not only about like going into sales and saying like, I will have a sales like lead generation tool. We also like go into different areas and like try to like touch different pain points of a company that our system is also helping us to identify for the company. Okay. So this like the,
Yeah, I actually have a question. That's pretty interesting about several questions here.
Mhm.
Because the workflow that you showed is pretty cool. But I have a few questions. The first one, when it comes to the multi-channel, how do you actually align? Do you just randomly send in parallel LinkedIn, call, emailing, then randomly calling, or you go step by step? If so, what is the logic behind that? Do you
Yeah.
start with the LinkedIn connection, or do you start with the cold emailing, or
Really
what's
good
your
question.
approach there? Hmm?
Lovely question. We're using basically a engagement tool, like we're using Outreach internally, which is directly connected. We're also using, for example, Sales Navigator, because again, I'm not saying Sales Navigator is not good. It's a really good tool to monitor people on their behavior. I would not like only look into the signals that they're giving me, but for engagement, reviewing what is like happening, who is posting, what are they posting, how are they engaging, to build relationship with people, it's a really cool tool. So we're using Outreach for that. I always like and with we have our one of our team members is a go-to-market engineer who's like optimizing those cadences. We always like talk about that, and basically the most successful way is always to engage first with a phone call, not
Wow.
email, not LinkedIn, really picking up the phone. And we have the phone numbers to some of them we don't, and we try like to go around that. But if we have the phone number, always call. And maybe I'm old school here, but you get the right away answer. And
Wow.
then like call, LinkedIn Connect, email, all same day.
Wow.
And then we follow up.
And just a quick question in terms of just the overall strategy. We are
Yeah.
called like you were just asking, would you like to get some more information about this or what's the pitch? Do you try to get them on the call, the actual call, or you would like to just unlock the conversation by saying, hey, we'd like to get more details or something like this? What so what's the strategy behind that?
I mean, the main idea is basically to understand if they're open to talk. It's not about
Mhm.
selling them anything in the first call. It's just about like, hey, are they open? Sharing them that I actually did my homework. I understand why I'm calling them up because I read something, for example, on their website, which of course I get from my tool. I'm not researching that, but they don't know if I'm reading something on a blog or something like, I don't know, a review page or something. They think I did a lot of homework. I like investigated a lot, but it's basically I'm getting the signal from the tool. And I'm using this as a pitch, like as an opener. This is why I actually came to you to talk to you. And then I'm just explaining basically, again, in German, it's different, of course, a bit how we pitch it, but basically it's about, hey, you can open up like it is a cold call. If you give me 30 seconds, like you know the drill, like here, like how the trainers are calling this, but basically explain to them like what we're doing and why I called, and then see if it's like generally interesting because we usually have a lot of demand from the same industries, right? If they're visiting us, as an example, as a signal, we actually can, I would never open up like I saw somebody from your company visit my website. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, Especially with people you cold like cold calling, right?
Yeah.
If they know you already, they know it's your business. That's easier, right? If you're having an open opportunity, they're like, yeah, I saw that you visited us, so it's clear. But cold calling, you would not do that. But basically, you try to open like it's a regular cold call where you just use and leverage the information you just received
Mhm.
because it's usually quite individual depending on what you saw. It's hard for me
Wow.
to create like a scenario right now out of the spot, but
Yeah, yeah, it's super super cool. So when it comes to the channel, it's way more clear. And plus the way you're like the overall research part that you already have right now, it's
yeah,
actually by how to identify the most relevant people in the specific region that you are working with.
yeah.
And when it comes to the personalization, it's then you, like based on your research, based on the things that you already did, now we just need to tell people that we did those research. Is it the part of like is it the research the personalization you're talking about, or you have some other cool tweaks or hacks?
That's actually it for the biggest part. I mean, what we're using as well is like we're trying to like lead into like referrals, for example. Because again,
Hmm.
remember, we don't need 10,000. We only need a little subset. And here I can invest more time. So if I have like a lead, for example, created and I'm talking to somebody who I identified with a specific pitch, I can even like try to see like who is engaged with him and try to get an intro to him using also
Wow.
like this channel. Because again, it's a mind shift because if you're doing mass, you try to create a really scalable way of doing business. If you don't need to scale that, if you don't need to scale this approach, but actually want to do it niche, to do it like in a high quality that you actually have a quite big conversion rate on that, you actually can spend more time on doing it. Because I would rather have like 10 calls a day, as an example, than 100 if I would convert like have three next follow-up meetings instead of like out of 103 because it just won't work. It's like nobody is happy from it. Maybe it's the same result, but I'm just like wasting time, you know?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
So this is like the basic approach. But again, here like in this outreach channels, I don't think we reinvented the wheel. It's just like we're trying to use the prepared data to reach out, which is different to what other providers are delivering. That's the basic idea of it. So is this workflow like a silver bullet for everybody? Probably not. This is what we also already like talk to the people, but we can also really say like we have quite good results with our customers where they on the one hand side like reduce the research time for the account research with the selection of the ICP, rather like use cross-selling opportunities through delivering
Yeah.
like on this data, or basically they identify those leads and help them to convert the deals faster, reducing the sales cycle, asking the right questions, bringing in other people, other stakeholders that they identified as well. Basically, this is what we have for Actio, what I really like, because like 75% of all won deals is actually contributed by lead feeder, which is quite a good result. And I want to basically end my presentation with one statement. And some of you guys know like Sam Jacobs from Pavilion, the founder of Pavilion. I really like this quote because it actually brings it to the point. Like it's about like this AI SDR area, right? So AI won't replace sales and shouldn't be doing outreach. It's like the main message here. And if we're doing this, and we're not that far right now that you can actually differentiate between a person and AI. I receive so many emails, I receive so many LinkedIn messages. I would really say that I can actually identify in the first 1 or 2 seconds if I see an email Is it a person or is it an AI? And maybe I'm wrong with 1%, like a few percentages, but the majority is it just lands in spam or like just gonna delete it right away. So it's really important to make it personal, to find like the right way to contact, to use different channels, to use the right messages. Because if you're using something that others don't, you just have a leverage. And this is what's all about, like to stand out from others, because like this is what makes you human and brings in value to the other person to talk to you. I'm really looking into like the next couple of years how people will need to prove. I mean, we're seeing on LinkedIn already, prove that you are human, right? Like prove that you
Yeah.
are this person. Like there's a lot of things happening right now in the market. So we need to make really understand that everything we're doing here, and this is why I also said at the beginning, what are we doing to our brand with our outreach? We need to make sure that every time you fake it, you actually are harming your brand. Like if you're doing outreach on mass and you have like something that's happening, not only the AE is harmed, but also you as a company. Yeah.
And here's the thing, just I feel a pretty similar vibes here because, whenever people are, imagine like all the people are doing the same thing. And it's like with growth hack. It's with
Yeah.
growth hacks. You identify the growth hack. Wow, it's super cool. Then more people, more adoption. Then they optimize it, so it's going better. And then when there is becoming a mass adoption, so everyone is doing literally the
Yeah.
same thing, then the
It
effectiveness is
tanks.
going down. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the plateau or something. It's just actually going down. And in the world of online language schools, the offline language school is extremely more valuable just
Yeah.
because you get different things compared to the online one. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? So whenever
Yeah.
everyone is going one direction, if you go the another like this totally
Yeah.
opposite direction where you don't try to mass everyone, but try to figure out who is the most ideal one, top
Yeah.
1% of contacts you want to reach out
Yeah.
to, and then double down on them. It's actually probably way better approach for some of the companies, definitely.
And this is also something where you actually want to pick up the phone. But again, you differentiate yourself because you have a person on the other side. It's not a message, it's not a LinkedIn message. It's like you have something on the phone who you can talk to. The only thing you need to make sure is that you train the people to do cold calling, because people don't like calling anymore. They're like all running around like text messages and like,
Yeah.
this is what the life we're living in right now. But this is also something, a skill that is always going to be appreciated, in my opinion. Talking to people, not only like with video or in person, but also on the phone, it's going to be really critical, in my opinion.
Yeah, awesome, awesome.
Cool.
Eh, Yeah,
All right. What do you think? Like, I was thinking about like for the audience. I mean, we have now like in Germany at least 5 p.m. Um, I was thinking like giving something back. Does it make sense?
yes, guys. So there are a lot of people who are spending and investing their time today. So, and it's already evening, Thursday. Probably it would be super, super great if we can give them some bonus, Michael.
Mhm. I think it's a good idea. I think I have something for you.
So, guys, please tell me in the chat, would you like to get some bonus or not? Just say yes or no. It's fine to say no, and if you don't want to say even see the bonus, if you say yes, okay, yes, I see. Oh, okay, yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay. In this case, we probably we were prepared for that actually. So,
Good stuff.
yeah,
It's
Michael,
just,
can you please share the bonus?
of course, of course. I'll go to my last slide here, and then we're good. Basically, so it was really great. Ilya, thank you for inviting me over. And I just prepared a little growth band special for you guys. As I mentioned before, it's like not a silver bullet for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for every use case. It doesn't work for every target group and audience, but it can work. So what I'm just saying here is like, if you would like, we can go to the next step and just see and check like if that actually works for you. So what I'm offering here to you is like 30-minute intro call with one of my salespeople, just to understand better your situation, what your goal is, what your target is, where you're standing right now, and if actually there is something to improve. You would be able to get like 30 days lead feeder trial to just identify all of the leads that are coming to you on the website. So you will see everything. You will have a pro account basically. to identify and see like, is actually who is visiting you your target audience, or are you attracting with your marketing channels rather not relevant audience that is coming to your website? This is something that I mentioned before as well. Like if you try it out and don't want to continue, it just changes to a light version. So it's for free basically and runs in the backend for you if you would like. And then last but not least, you would get 30 qualified B2B leads. So during those 30 days, we'll just identify companies, we can nurture them, find like the relevant people that you can reach out to. You get 30 leads that you can reach out for free. This is something that I
Awesome.
would just like to offer like the people and companies, basically first come, first serve. Just ping me on LinkedIn really quick, and then I can set you up with somebody of my team.
Yeah, but if people are watching that in the recording and they want to get this bonus, probably we can, and they watched it till this moment. They already spent an hour, almost an hour. Probably they can reach out to you and say, "Hello, Michael. I was watching the replay. Thanks all for a really great content. Then I also got the bonus."
Well, if they're asking so nicely, we'll make it work.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Awesome. Guys, just remember that. Okay.
Good stuff.
Awesome. Guys, we just have a few more minutes just to answer the questions. If you have any, please feel free to ask in the Q&A section. But since we're already over 1 hour, let's try to keep it sharp. A, feel free to always reach out to me on LinkedIn. B, feel free to reach out to Michael on LinkedIn. Why? Because several reasons. A, great content. B, great conversation. And C, probably you need some solutions like Bluefront, or if you need our help as well, feel free to reach out to us as well. Michael, first of all, thanks a lot for sharing such a great content and your
Thank you.
behind the scenes of Dealfront's go to market. It's quite interesting. Yeah, thanks a lot, actually.
Thank you very much, Ilya. Thanks for inviting me. It was great talking to you. And yeah, let's keep it up and keep up the conversation.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Guys, we're already over 1 hour, so thanks a lot, everyone. Michael, thanks a lot to you as well. So let's probably finish that. And guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, to Michael, etc., etc. And have an amazing day. By the
Thank you.
way, all the recordings, materials, no worries, we're gonna send it. Guys, just don't forget.
See you,
Okay,
Ilya.
awesome, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.